the potter and the priceless teapot by the banks of the Red River, where the soil turned a deep, earthy brown, lay an ancient village famed across the North Bat Trang, the village of Pottery. For generations, the crackling of kilns, the pounding of clay, and the whir of spinning wheels had been the rhythm of life. The people there lived by earth and fire, shaping clay with skill passed down from their ancestors. Among them lived an old craftsman, known simply as Old Anne. Unlike others who produced a wide range of pottery, he dedicated his entire life to making just one thing: teapots. Not the colourful vases, not the towering jars that sold well in the market, not the glossy enamel-coated bowls that pleased wealthy patrons. His teapots were plain, almost crude, nothing more than bare brown earths, without patterns, without shine, without dragons or phoenixes carved into the surface, while other kilns bustled with buyers and wagons carried dazzling wares to faraway markets. Old Anne's kiln was often quiet. Customers who stepped in and saw his dull brown pots would shake their heads and walk away. Some mocked outright. What ugly things, worthless compared to the fine wares of Master Thin or Madam Ho. Old Anne never grew angry. He only smiled gently and said, "The worth of a teapot is not in its appearance, but in whether it can preserve the fragrance of tea." To many, his words were laughable. Who cared about tea fragrance anymore? People wanted things that glittered, that looked impressive on display. A teapot to them was just a container. Few knew that Old Anne had once been a boy raised in hardship. Born to a poor family of potters, he was taught by a stern father in pottery. What matters is not the shape or color, but the spirit you place into the clay. As a child, Anne was often made to sit by the clay pits, kneading handfuls of soil until he could sense its texture, soft, elastic, or too brittle. His father would say, "Clay has a soul. Respect it, and it will obey you." He grew up in smoke and fire, but what fascinated him most was the teapot. To him, it was where earth and fire, steam and fragrance came together. A good teapot could calm the heart, accompany conversations, and soothe burdens. In his eyes, a teapot was not an object, it was a silent companion of humankind. As time passed, his peers chased profits. They crafted towering jars with glossy glaze, destined for the capital. But Anne remained at his wheel, shaping modest brown pots, firing them with straw, refining every detail with patience. Villagers urged him, "Anne, you're stubborn, nobody wants these rustic pots. You'll starve." But Anne replied softly, "I don't work for wealth. I work to preserve the soul of the earth." One late autumn, when the northern winds carried a chill, a wealthy merchant from the north arrived in Bat Trang. Rumor spread quickly. He sought a rare gift to present to the king. It had to be unique. More than beautiful, it had to bear deep meaning. The merchant toured every kiln. Everywhere, he was greeted with honor and offered dazzling works. Jade-glazed vases, dragon-carved urns, bowls so thin that light shone through. Yet he shook his head. "These are fine, but they are mere ornaments. I want something with soul, something that will make the king pause and reflect. No one knew what he truly sought. Only old Anne remained quietly at his wheel, hands moving steadily over clay. One day, the merchant happened to pass by Anne's kiln. Seeing the plain brown pots piled in a corner, he frowned and scoffed. "You call this pottery? Fit for the trash." Old Anne didn't reply. Instead, he picked up the ugliest teapot, filled it with water, dropped in a handful of dried voy leaves, and set it on the fire. When the water boiled, he poured the tea slowly. Steam rose, filling the small room with a delicate fragrance, fresh, pure, yet profound, not the rich aroma of rare teas, but something humble, evoking memories of fields at dawn, the riverbank in mist, and breezes through bamboo groves. The merchant was startled. He sipped once, then widened his eyes. The tea was rich, sweet aftertaste lingering in his throat, its fragrance enduring long after the swallow. "What fine tea is this?" he exclaimed. Old Anne smiled. "Nothing fine, just common voy leaves that villagers drink every day." The merchant was stunned. "Then why does it taste so extraordinary?" Old Anne answered calmly. "Because this teapot was made from special riverbank clay, each grain carefully chosen. It was fired with straw for 7 days and nights. The body not only holds heat, but also breathes. It absorbs the essence of tea, then releases it, letting the flavor blossom fully." The merchant was speechless. What he had sought all this time revealed itself in this plain teapot. He hurriedly opened his chest, spilling gold onto the table. "Master, sell me this pot. Name your price. I will pay." But old Anne shook his head. "This pot is my life's work. It is priceless. If you truly desire it, I will gift it to you, but with one condition." "What condition?" the merchant asked. Old Anne looked into his eyes, speaking firmly. "When you present it to His Majesty, tell him, the worth of a treasure lies not in its appearance. The worth of a person lies not in fame. May your Majesty see the hearts of the people." The merchant bowed deeply, overwhelmed with respect. When the day came, the court buzzed with excitement. Ministers crowded around as the northern gift was unveiled. Yet when they saw only a plain brown teapot, many laughed derisively. "This is the treasure." Absurd, but when tea was poured, the hall filled with fragrance. The king sipped, and his eyes lit up. The taste was pure, deep, unforgettable. Hearing the merchant recount old Anne's words, the king grew silent, then thoughtful. Finally, he declared, "Seek out this potter. Bring him to court. Grant him office, that such talent not be wasted." Messengers rushed to Bat Trang, but when they found old Anne, he only smiled and bowed. "I am a potter, not a minister. My life belongs to earth, fire, and these humble teapots. Titles and rank are but illusions." He refused, choosing to remain in his modest kiln. Yet, from then on, the villagers began to see differently. They realized that the glossy surfaces they had chased would fade, but sincerity and devotion endured. They learned to honor the simple yet profound, following old Anne's philosophy. Years later, people still told the story of the priceless teapot. No one knew where it ended, up in the palace treasury or lost to time. But what mattered was the lesson it left behind. In any craft, in any age, true value does not lie in a shiny glaze, but in the heart and dedication of its maker. Old Anne lived a humble life, yet his name endured. Amid fleeting glitter and fading beauty, he left the world one eternal truth. Only sincerity creates true worth. Every story is a seed. When we plant them together, the world will bloom. Please subscribe and share this story to help us plant more seeds of love and hope.